working in AI domain, like preferably data scientists, would be following these steps in order to build a AI project end to end. So the first one would be whatever the data it is, using help of business domain expert. When we get a project so and so, we would be taking help of business domain expert, and we would first define a problem statement. So this is where the first start of the project starts. Like first, we need to define the statement, our goal, what we are supposed to do. If we do not have a goal in life or anywhere in terms of project, we do not know what we are supposed to do, right? So first, we need to define the problem statement, understand the problem statement. So okay, like we have got the problem statement, we have understood it, we have got the end goal. Like yesterday, I had given you x1, x2, x3, and we need to predict the y. So might be we could get this problem statement like tire industry, we need to predict something, or yesterday we had a question from VLSI. So we would have got a project from VLSI. They wanted to detect the fault. It can be any problem statement, any project. First, we need to understand the problem statement. And next is the data understanding and gathering. So this is the second crucial part. We as a data scientist, we do not know any knowledge about the industry, what is happening, like what project it is. For example, VLSI yesterday, I do not know about it, to be honest, or anything, machine industry. We do not know anything. We have zero knowledge. Even in healthcare, we do not know the terminologies. When they say in order to predict whether you have a diabetes or not, you have various terminologies, like biological terminologies involved. We have no idea about it. We can just know about, we are just aware about the data, like the numbers. That's it. Apart from that, we have no idea at all. Like x1, x2, x3, what they give, we just know those. That's it. Like how to deal with it. We have no idea how the relation is. That's the help of business domain expert. So you need not have, like there's no necessary, like every project we would be having business expert. It depends on project to project. If there's no business expert, then we take a lot of time in order to understand the problem statement first. Then data understanding, we need to Google it out, try to find a person who knows something on these parameters. So basically, in order to get the data, to understand the data, we take almost 20% of the project to understand the data. And like it won't be like x1, x2, x3. I'm just giving an example, like columns. We'll be having close to 700, 800 columns, and the target would be one. And rows, if you ask me, it could be 4 to 5 lakh, 7 lakh, 8 lakh rows. So that is the strength of the data, like the size of the data, what we deal with it. So once the data understanding, what you have got, like data understanding in the sense, this column is this, like what is it, what is the main role, what impact it has in the target. Like yesterday, I told you an example of a fish, length, width, and height, and we had to classify the fish. So here the data understanding is like what is length of the fish, how it has been measured, what's the width, what do you mean by width, how do you measure the width of the weight, all those things, and how that length, width, and height is affecting the target. So like this, we need to understand the data first, and later we need to do the data gathering. So this is another crucial step. So data gathering, this is where SQL is required. This is the first tool. So later I will be explaining guys like what are data science tool you require in order to become data science. But yeah, SQL is a must. I should say you SQL is a must because a client to store all the data in the form of database. So there would be a database DB. They would be giving you an access, and you need to fetch the data, extract the data. So in order to become a data scientist or any business analyst, there's another guy who wanted to become a business analyst. So the first and foremost, in order to deal with any data, you need to have an SQL. Even if you go to interview, even if you go to an interview, if you go for a data scientist or a machine learning AI developer, first they'll ask you, do you know SQL? If you do not know this, you straight away reject it because that would be the basic round, first round, to interview. So they would be giving you certain queries, certain problem statements to solve. So SQL is the foremost important. Even for us in industry, we use SQL a lot. The main thing of SQL is to fetch the database. That's it. Like we do not need all the data in this. Like what all the business experts says us, we have to extract the data. So that is where SQL stands. So we extract complete data. It might be from database or it would be sensor data. So that would be stored in separate database. Like during we have dealt some manufacturing project also, the fault detections. So in that case, we have sensor data. So sensor data would be stored in different database or cloud, etc. Or in certain problem statements, we have to scrap the web page. Yesterday I told you a problem about NLP. I told you about sentimental analysis, where the positive feedback, negative feedback. In that case, we need to scrap the database. Like scrapping in the sense, let me look at. So suppose I'm interested to buy TV. So this particular, let me, okay. If I select this product, so now as a customer, I want to know how, like as a business, I want to see how, what are the reviews are. You can see the reviews being generated, right? Terrific purchase, some say very good and nice product. All those things, we need to scrap it. So these things are basically used in NLP. Not to scrap it, you can see if I hover my mouse on these, I come to know where the data lies. For example, if I need to scrap it, like we use different, I'm just giving an overview, like how this works. So we basically scroll like this, hover, or we can, if I need rating and reviews. So this is the tag, this is the HTML page, and this is the tag which is being used in order to scrap it. And you can go deeper down into it and just, you need to hover it down. For example, if I need a terrific purchase, like each and every thing would be given a tag. So from here, I can get a terrific purchase. So this is where I can scrap all this data. So scrapping the data and putting the dumping into NLP model, you come to know the feedback of the customer, whether it's a positive, negative, how good is this project. You can do various like market basket analysis, association tools, like that. That's how this is being done. So this is where the data gathering one step is. So first one is like you would be getting in the form of Excel, like they would be having a ready-made CSV file where all the data, in case if they have an in-house data analyst, they would be preparing a Excel for this. We don't have to access the database. In case not, they'll give us access to the database, the security, password, everything, all the credentials, and using any SQL tool. SQL is nothing query language based. If you're not aware, like not sure, like EC computer science students might be aware of SQL. SQL is something like uh, in order to speak to the database, you need a language. So that language is called SQL. It's called structured query language, basically. So in order to communicate with the database, it's basically to get the data. So if you have a box and if you have some data, just imagine, and you need to get the data from it, you use SQL. SQL is a language, basically. So next, coming to the data gathering and data understanding. So we have done with data understanding, data gathering. Yeah, fine. So we are prepared in the format of what we require. Basically, it would be rows and columns. And once the data is ready, we would be importing it to the any of the IDE. What IDE is integrated development environment. So we can dump into any IDE, such as we can use Anaconda, Jupyter Notebook, Spider. So that is where we do all those things. So the third step is data pre-processing. So as a data scientist, almost 60 to 70% of the time we do here. Like we don't do the model building 24 by 7 or deep learning, neural networks. No. So harsh truth is 60 to 70%. We will be doing the data pre-processing work. So it would be first thing, like if just imagine like we have got the data. Now we have understood the data. We have done the data gathering. We have the data. So let me consider 100, like 2 or 5,000, like we classify it as some f, and let me add another categorical variable such as years. No, yes. So here let it be 250. I'm just giving a random data, guys. 4, 7,000. So F, F1, F. So it has to classify it. That's it. So in data pre-processing stage, the data what we get, it won't be a complete clean data. We will be having unstructured data or jumbled data, or we will be having a JSON format. So JSON format is having like it will be having a key value pair. Like for example, a name. Like we will be having Ajit, Tanmay, Arun, like this. So in one particular column itself, we'll be having like unstructured data, JSON format. So we need to flatten it, all those things. And another problem majorly is if you have a column, it need not be like the complete column would be filled. There would be something called missing values. So this is another pre-processing thing. Like I will be showing you an example. Like if you have a column, need not be complete values. Like here you have 100, 250, and 300. And now we have another row like n would be blank, and here we'll be having 3 and 6,000. So this is called a missing value. So we need to impute it. We would be like that's a check. That's a part of check. So how we impute the missing value? It depends. So might be we can take a mean of it, like completely adding like complete column, like mean in the sense x1, like if you have x1 in the column x1, like if you have x11 plus x12 plus x13 divided by total number of the length of the column totally. Now we have total 4. So whatever value you get, adding 100, 250, and 300, so whatever the value you get divided by 3, sorry, divided by 4. So that would be the mean of it anyway, like divided by 3, and that would be the mean of it, and where we impute the missing values. If you have categorical variables, guys, so in that case we can impute by mode. Mode is like number of elements present, like a maximum thing. Like for categorical you can directly cannot, you need to encode it. Like you have something called one hot encoder, label encoder, which means for a machine learning model, guys, you cannot feed categorical data. Categorical data is something like words, what we have, like male, female, Ajit, like names, Ajit, Tommy, all those things. You need to have a numeric. Remember that, guys. The first and foremost, a fundamental thing is you cannot feed any categorical data to the machine learning model. Model only understands numerics. So only the numeric part you can dump it to the model and you get an output. So that's also part of data pre-processing. So if you have missing values here, first you need to convert this. Like for example, if you like, there are two types of encoding method. One is one hot encoding. Another one is label encoding. So label encoding is nothing. It just gives a number. If you have now, we have two types. So it says y as 1, n as y as 1, and n as 0, n as 2, y as 1, n as 2. So it keeps on giving the number, how much ever classes you have in particular column, like 1, 2, 3, 4, all those things. This is called label encoding. So the next one is one hot encoding. One hot encoding basically it starts with 0 and 1. Like it basically gives it basically creates a column of 0 and 1. For example, if you have 3 classes in a particular column, let me take a new sheet. So you have 3 classes such as A1, A2, A3 in a particular column. So in order to perform the encoding, it creates 2 columns such as x11, x12. In order to classify as A1, you just need 0, 1. In order to classify as A2, it would be as 1, 0. So in order to classify as A3, it would be 0, 0. So this is how the encoding works. Like you classify, you create, but one disadvantage and advantage of both is if you have one hot encoding and a particular column has many classes, so many number of columns should be created, like lots. Almost if you have some like countries, like country column, or if you have some 150 countries in that, just imagine the number of columns which is extra. So in that case, there are a lot of pre-processing techniques which we have to do. So now we have understood what is one hot encoding. And if I want to do a label encoding, so label encoding is just like 1, 2, 3. Here the problem is it would be doing the encoding, but the weightage of the parameter increases. For example, A2 is 2, A3 is 3. So the machine thinks that A1 is greater than A3. So that is what it thinks. So this is sometimes not like it's not a proper approach, but this is one of the techniques that is what we do. So now once we have done the missing value imputations, and first we have done the data gathering, data understanding. Before that, the problem statement, and then the data understanding, data gathering, and then comes the data pre-processing. In that, we have seen the missing value imputation, and we have seen the encoding. And next one is called like you need to, if you're dumping the data to the model, the data has to be standardized. So what do you mean by standardized or normalized? Which means, as I told you in the intersection, data science basically uses statistics. So that's the four and important one in data science. So in order to deal with any model, like if you're sending the data to any model, you need to have a normal distribution. Like if you plot a graph of all this in a scatter plot, you need to have a bell-shaped curve. So this is your mu, and this is your first standard deviation. This is your second standard deviation. So which means the complete amount of data, almost 68% of the data, should be within this first standard deviation. So, and 95% of the data should be within the second standard deviation. This is the second standard deviation. And remaining 98% of the data should be within the third standard deviation. Let me draw it in a proper way. I know this isn't good, so this is the bell-shaped curve. This is mean. This completely data distribution, guys. If you plot the data, this is a scatter plot. You can think, and this is where the normal. Like if you just imagine the complete data, it has to have a normal distribution. Just the scattering of the data. So this is the mu. This is the first standard deviation. So this is the second standard deviation. This is the third. The same here. First standard deviation, second standard deviation, and third. So the rule is 68% of the data will be lying in the first standard deviation in this. And the remaining 95% of the data will be within second standard deviation. And 98% of the data would be within third standard deviation. So in order to feed the model, it has to be a normal distribution or a standard normal distribution. So normal distribution, in the sense the mean can be anything, the standard deviation can be anything. And what do you mean by standard normal distribution? Which means the mean should be equal to 0 and standard deviation should be 1. So I think you would be knowing what do you mean by mean. Mean is just like you add the values x1 plus x2 plus x3 divided by the number of the length of it, like 3. And what do you mean by standard deviation? It's basically the spreadness of the data, how your data has been scattered. So it's defined as the square root of the variance. So square root of the variance gives us a standard deviation. So in order to pass the data to the model, the data has to be standard distribution. So why do you have to do this? Why do you have to standardize it mainly? Like, can't we send the model just like that? So in order to answer that, like if you have columns, now let's get back to our example what we had. Like we had x1, x2, x3. and we have y here. Like now the length, I'll just hypothetically, I'll just assume it. The length is here 200, and the width is some 10 or 20 like that. Just an example, guys. And weight is 70. And here again some 300, some 15, 85. Might be more. I think so. Let's keep it 700, 850. The weight, at least close to realistic. 30 and 900. And here F1, F2, F3. Now you can see here you can see the difference in the data. X1 has 200 ranges, 200, 300, 400. X2 has 10, 15, 30. X3 has 700. So each and every column, the data what we have is totally different, guys. So this isn't good. So we need to put everything in one range. So how we can do is, like, the difference is too high. The difference between 200 and 300 is 100. The difference between 10 and 15 is just 5. And here we have 150. We need to do the data transformation. Like, we need to have all in one range. Like, if you have for example, how do you do it? Like, there's various techniques. You can apply log. For example, if you have in a column 1 and 100, so log of 1 is 0, log of 100 is 2. So difference is being reduced only to 2. So here the difference is 99. So this is one of the technique. So another one is you can do the standard scalar. In sklearn, there's a package. Sklearn is a library which majorly used in machine learning. So it has all the packages, guys. You don't have to do any mathematics, what I was explaining. Like, everything the machine would be doing on its own. So that's one advantage. But we just have to learn the package, import it, and do it. So here, if you like import an sklearn, and later in this we have something called a standard scalar. So using this, if you import it and just feed this data, it would give all these 3 columns in one particular range. It would scale down the data. Basically, there won't be any data loss or loss of data information. Only the data has been scaled down so that machine learning can understand the relationship better. There's another technique called min-max scalar. So it basically, the formula is x minus x max minus x min. So this is another technique called min-max. Basically, these are all normalization techniques, standardization. The main objective is to reduce the data, scale down the data. So once this has been done, so the next step is, so right now, to recap, we have defined the problem statement, we have gathered the data, we have understood the data, we have started the pre-processing of the data, we have handled the missing values and the standardized, normalized, we have done the encoding, and next thing is, next pre-processing technique is outlier detection. So I'll take the same example, x1, x2, x3, and we have y. So there will be certain parameters, certain points. So if we plot a graph between x1 and y, we have scatters like this. But there would be one particular point which is something like way beyond. Like, it makes sure it doesn't be in this group. This is called as an outlier. This particular outlier affects the model very much. So in order to deal with it, we plot a box plot where the data is scattered, and we have Q1, Q2, Q3. So basically, we use interquartile range. So the data here, like, we make sure that the scattered data has to be within this Q1 to Q3. So this is nothing. If you see inverted, this is the same as, I'm not able to draw this, but I'll try to draw. It follows the normal distribution, guys. Like, I'll just try to, if you have a box plot, so let's try to use it. So if you draw a box plot is nothing like a representation of the data. Like how we have a scatter plot, in the same way you have a box plot. So when you plot a box plot, so all the data has to fall here. If you see it in this way, it's same as your normal distribution. Like it has to follow the complete normal distribution. So here we try to remove, like how we deal with outlier in the sense, we try to remove it, or we try to handle the outlier by reducing the data transformation, scaling down the data. So this is how we deal with outlier detection. And once these are all done, we need to do some EDA. EDA is nothing but to understand the data. Once everything is being done, we need to, like before we have understood before the pre-processing, now we need to do some exploratory data analysis, such as checking the correlations. In machine learning model, if you have three columns, x1, x2, x3, I'm going for the same example, guys, don't get bored of it. X1 has to have impact on y, x2 should be having certain impact of y, x3 should be having impact of y. So the word correlation in the sense, in any model, these are the independent variables, x1, x2, x3. This is the dependent variable. So it has to, x1 has to have a direct impact on a target. But where the correlation concept comes in the sense, x1 and x2 should not have any relationship. Like it should not have any correlation, because if you have two and both are trying to decide the target, you don't need that two columns, right? You can just have either x1 and x2. So this one we will be coming to know in the heat map. There's something called heat map. In this, if you plot complete all these three columns, you would be having x1, x2, and x3, and x1, x2, and x3. Using this in the heat map, you would come to know which value is highly correlated. So in that case, using the help of business domain expert, we'll straight away remove that particular column. So that is one thing. So this is the correlations what we're doing, and beta and in EDA we would be exploring the data, each and every column, how it has been distributed, like basically plot the scatter plot, and again we will be checking whether the data has been normally distributed or not. So these are the techniques, guys. These are all data pre-processing techniques. I just told you an outline, but in depth, this is 60% in the sense you can just understand. The data won't be so easy to handle. So once this is done, once x1, x2, x3 is done, so next thing, what we do is, we will be going to the model building stage. So in order to build a model, we take anything. Like yesterday, I've told you, if it's a regression problem, linear regression, decision trees, random forest, some 4 to 5 models. Models are mathematical equations. So before going to the model, we will be having data x1, x2, x3, and y. Like say we have some 15 rows, close to 15 rows, and here we will be having the target. So the complete 15 rows, we would not be dumping to the model. We'll only take 10 rows, and remaining 5 rows we would be using for testing. So this is something called train and test split. Almost if you have a data of some 100 rows, in that 80% is used for train. 20% we need to check the accuracy of the model, right? Like how well the model is performing. We cannot just directly dump it. We need to test the model, whether it's able to understand the relationship or what. So that is where the training and test split is happening. So there's various techniques such as holdout cross-validate, holdout method, the scaffold cross-validation. These are the splits of the data, so that the model is being exposed to more and more data, so that main objective is to achieve the better accuracy. The model is able to understand the data very well. So we do the train and test split, 80%, 20% rule. Once the 10 rows is being, like if you have 15 rows, the 10 rows completely we have taken, and later we feed it into the model completely. Like we would be having a model, like that has also been imported by sklearn, and later we would be dumping to the model, check the accuracy of it, and later we will be checking the accuracy, and with that model we would be using this test data. So that the test data directly would be dumped to the model, and we would be checking the accuracy of the model, whether it's able to predict. For example, in the test data, if we have some 200, 300, and 400, the y is some 10. So if you feed this 200, 300, 400, and the model gives me some 11.5. So which means the error is 1.5. So yesterday, if I just recall, if I just make you like go back to yesterday, I told you the main objective was to reduce the error. So here where the hyperparameter tuning comes. So hyperparameter tuning, for you to understand the model, what we built. So we need to tune it, guys. Like we had yesterday, weight parameter, y equal to mx plus c. We need to make sure the model like m and c is being, like we need to adjust it. Those are all experimental methods, like basically trial and error method. So once this is done, once you have got the accuracy of the model, that's it. Almost 90%, 80% of the job is done. So next thing is we can use an IDE like PyCharm, do a full-fledged like deployment. We can deploy to the cloud, like and also we have something called Postman, where we can test the model. So after the model has been done, nothing. You just have to create a pickle file. Pickle file is something where we can use it anywhere. Like if new data comes, it just follows the sequence. Like for example, now we have created the model within 15 rows. Now we get a new set of 20 rows. So it has to follow the same method. Like we need to build a, like it has to check the missing values, like it has to perform the encoding, scale the data, and later split it and dump to the model. Like the pipeline, you need to create a pipeline. So that's how it happens in the live environment. There would not be a data scientist who keeps doing it. So you just create a pipeline and it goes automatically. So once the model has been done in a pickle file, you directly dump it into the cloud using Flask applications. So this is where we can use, we can create a web API, application programmable interface. So where we can create a web API and using HTML developers. So that's a job of HTML, where to create a web API, where data scientists are not being involved in that. So they would be creating as a web page, all those interfaces completely, and we would be deploying completely into the cloud environment. There's various clouds such as Heroku, AWS, Azure, then GCP, Pivotal, all those things. Based on the cloud requirement, this has been done. So this is the complete end-to-end what a data science does. The same I've given here. So to recap, start, data selection, description, a story of what the data is. This is where the data gathering understanding comes. And here the performing the both statistical graphical analysis, EDA. Here the data transformation, the pre-processing stage, such as the data transformation, derivation of new attributes, selection. So once these all pre-processing technique comes, later selection of machine learning model based on the patterns observed in EDA. So even later, we can, in certain techniques, we do the standardization, normalization after machine learning. But it's better advisory to do it before also. So there's no harm. And later you did the train and test split, 80%, 20% rule. So once this has been done, model training using machine learning algorithm tested above. Then later we check the accuracy of both training and testing. Like once we get the accuracy, we do the hyperparameter tuning in order to achieve. You just imagine data science is just a flow. It's not just a continuous process. You need to go back again. If the accuracy is worst, then again have to go back to the data pre-processing stage. So that's where, like, it's not a continuous flow, a pipeline. You need to go back, do some pre-processing, again check the accuracy. Like it's a to and fro method. Like here, you need to backward. It's a cycle. And once this is done, yeah, you got a good accuracy. So accuracy basically depends on the problem statement, guys. If it's medical or related to health, the accuracy should be very high because it's basically used for some pharmaceutical company for any human trial. So they need a very good accuracy, guys. So there no compromise. But in certain manufacturing, this thing, the accuracy can be like 0.7, 0.8. It's fine for them. So but for healthcare, they need a high accuracy. So once this is done, we need to save it, save the create a model file using Pickle, what I explained you. Then the deployment strategies for the model, such as live stream, batch, mini batch. These are all like the mode of the data, how frequent the data is coming, whether it would keep on coming in live environment, or you would be having a batch, like sending one part of the data to the model like this. So then next is the product deployment and testing. So once this is done, we will be doing the retraining approach. So with the new data, we open the gate for the new data to come in. All the customers like you and me would be logging in. So we would be exposed to the new data. This is where the retraining happens. And logging and monitoring, the separate team in data science called ML operations, the operations team. So we would be having a separate logger and monitor. So logger is something like what all we did now, the complete data pre-processing stage, everything would be captured in a file called logger. Like, yeah, so and so columns got pre-processed. Like we would be having a statement, like a missing value being imported, complete details in a logger, like a ledger. Like you have an attendance in your college, right? Like, yeah, he's entered the school, like you have been attended this particular class, like a logging basically, like approach what all has been taken care. So later we will be having a dashboard for monitoring and logging. So this is where like we have visualization tools such as Tableau, Power BI, where the client can see in front end. So this is where the visualization tool is being done. So this is complete roadmap, guys, of the data science. So what I would like to explain, this is what we do each and every day. Yeah, it looks good, but in reality, it like the data is the pre-processing is painful. So so now, guys, let's do some hands-on. If you're all fine, so can we do some hands-on, like downloading Python? I just wanted some in chat window. If you're fine, else I can show you. If you're interested to do hands-on, just let me know in chat window so that we can do some Python work where we can see the actual thing happening. Just let me know in chat window, guys. Else it's fine if I can share the screen. Okay. Okay, great. So now, let's install an IDE, like integrated development environment. I choose Python. So I suggest you, advise you also to choose Python, because that's where the scope is. You have lots of package. So in Python, you have an IDE called as Anaconda. I'll just ping you this. Just follow the steps, guys. So here, if you come in the bottom, you would be having, whether you use a Windows, Mac OS, Linux, you can install based on your info. Like if you're 32-bit or 64-bit, just install this. I'll just paste this link so that just let me know. I'll just paste the link in the chat so that everyone can install it. You just have to go here to in Google, find for Anaconda, like Anaconda download, or you can just like paste the link what I've given. It would go to the Anaconda prompt, and the bottom Windows. If you have Windows, or if you're using Mac or Linux, based on that, just install this and let me know. Like you just it's just like a installing a game. So it just shows you automatically what all is done. So once it's done, just let me know, guys. So later, after it's installed, if you type Anaconda, you'll be getting like this in start menu. So let me know if once you're done. If you have any doubts, just unmute and you can speak out, or you can type here. I can open the screen so that. Yeah. Are you guys installing? Just let me know in chat box, guys. Is it working fine? Anyone facing the issue? Rashmi, did they receive the file like what I sent them, the CSV file?
Yes, I've mailed all of them.
Okay, cool. Let me know, guys, once you have installed it. Like, I can show you the next steps.
I think you can start out with like doing it and they can just follow or something because it's going to take different timing for people to install.
Is that so? I think it's a small file, just for 457 MB. Okay, I can, if at least like one confirm or if they're able to do, because I wanted they to do. So once you install, guys, you would be having something called Anaconda Navigator. So if you launch it, you would be getting a window like this, a prompt. So here you have various IDs. You have PyCharm, you have Notebook, Jupyter Lab, you have Spider, OrangeBee, RStudios for R language, etc. So here for beginners, we basically suggest you to start with like Notebook. You can just launch your Notebook, like giving a launch. It would take time. Or the another way is you will be having Anaconda PowerShell prompt along with Navigator. I have it already running, so that's the reason it isn't working for me. Yeah, we have it. So here we just have to type Jupyter Notebook. If you do not have this Jupyter Notebook, you need to give pip install Jupyter Notebook. So I'll just paste this in the chat bar. If anyone is doing it, would be helpful. And later you need to run like just Jupyter Notebook. That's it. With these two, like how I will be doing now, you can just follow what I do. Yeah, we have the Jupyter Notebook. So this is where we do the coding, guys. Like Python, like starting before using PyCharm, the complete data pre-processing steps can be done here, or learning of Python, everything. This is very easy, guys. You can start with this. Trust me, like it would be very helpful for you. It's a simple tool like new create Python 3, and you can start typing here. That's like Python is a very user-friendly language, guys. You just have to enter and you get the output. So this is how easy is Python. You can do any this. You do not have a complex syntax with Java or C++. For sum is equal to a plus b. So if you just print sum, so in order to execute it, I use control enter, control plus enter. So this is how easy is Python. So I cannot teach you unfortunately Python right now, but now what I had thought is, I'm not sure how many have you like should I wait or can I go ahead? Okay, guys, I think you guys have like still installing. Yeah, sure, Ansh. So, so once you have installed, go to the start Anaconda prompt, and you just have to give pip install Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook will be prompted out, and you'll be getting a screen like this. And what file I have sent you, once you you open the screen, just give pwd. You'll be getting the directory and save that advertising.csv. So this particular notebook I will be sharing to Rashmi after this class, and you can try it out too. So now let's do, you don't have to understand what is pandas, all those things. Just understand how this is going. That's sufficient. Now the problem statement is, this data is about the amount spent on advertising to different channels like TV, radio, newspaper. The goal is to predict how expensive on each channel affects the sales. Is there a way to optimize the sale? That's a simple problem statement. So in order to start with this, we need to import certain libraries. So pandas is a library which used to handle data frames. Data frames is nothing but rows and values. This is a data frame, like having columns and rows. And next one is matplotlib.pyplot. So this is like a visualization tool, and pickle file is basically used to build a model. That's it. So this is a basic, this is not the complete end-to-end. I'm just showing you some basic things. So first thing is the CSV file, what I've sent you, we would be importing to the Python. So here we have data equal to pd.read_csv, since it's a CSV file, and the file name is advertising.csv. We read the file. So once the reading is being done, we will be checking the 5 rows, like just to see the data understanding. So this is where you read the data. So here we have, this first one is an index parameter which can be ignored, and TV, radio, newspaper, and the sales. This is basically the amount spent. As you can see, the amount spent on advertising through different channels, TV, radio, and the sales. Basically, they're trying to sell a product. They're investing their product in various platforms such as TV, radio, and newspaper, and basic on that they're trying to predict the sales. So here, what are features? So features, one is TV, X1. You can consider X1, X2, X3, and the Y is the sales. So sale is something which is supposed to predict. So advertising dollars spent on TV for a single product in a given market in thousands of dollars this is. And radio, this is where the data understanding is. I do not know anything. So we have a business expert who has told this column does so and so. We are trying to understand basically what the particular column is. So radio, advertising dollars spent on radio, newspaper. Advertising dollars spent on newspaper is advertising dollars spent on newspaper. What is the response? Sales is sale of the single product in a given market in thousands of widgets. So now this is being done. We have done data ahead, and later we will be checking the info of it. So here we have close to 200 entries, 200 rows, and total 5 columns. So first thing, you can anyway remove it, and the next one, TV, radio, newspaper. Basically, like it's basically the data type is float. Float means, considering that you do not know, int is something a whole number. Float is something which has a decimal attached to it, like 6.2, 7.2, 3.4. So you have float 32, float 64. So here in Python, we basically right now the advanced level is float 64 and also minus the 64-bit machine. So basically this is a float 64. So you have strings, you have objects. Those are different data type guys. Basically, if I have a categorical, then in this particular column it will be showing as objects. So now we have got the info. Understand, this is all part of data understanding. And later we will be checking the shape of the data, like the rows and columns, using data.shape. These are all the commands, guys. You don't have to remember anything. You just, like, if you just give a dot and give it tab, sometimes it comes, but you'll be getting everything, like what all functions it is. So basically here we would be coming, like we would know the rows and the column of particular data frame. And next, till now we have got the data, we understood the problem statement, we did the data gathering, understanding the data basically. Now we are checking the null values, missing values. So basically each and every column should not be having any missing values. So fortunately the data we got was completely filled. So if you give data ECNA means like it's checking whether the particular column has any missing values or not. So if we have any missing values, it would be showing. So here we have 000. If the TV has some two missing values, it should show us two. Later we have to do the pre-processing of it, like impute it with mean, mode, etc. So now let's visualize the relationship between the features and response. So I told you, right, like to check the correlations, all those things. So here to understand the data, how it has been, like how the response is, all those, we need to plot between, like we need to plot a scatter plot between TV and sales, radio and sales, newspaper and sales using Matplotlib, guys. You don't have to understand how this is being coded. You just have to understand what is it doing right now. So you basically you plot scatter plot between TV and sales, radio and sales, newspaper and sales. You can see the distribution. In this, you can understand like as you invest more, like 300, like certain times the sales is less also, and here the sales is more. Here in radio, even if you invest more, the sales is very down. Whereas in newspaper, certain times with even a small investment, we have got like a large sale, which isn't there in TV. In TV, like how much you invest, the sale goes like it's linear, having a linear relationship. Whereas in newspaper, no. Investing a small amount, your sale has gone to peak, close to 25. So I feel newspaper here is a better approach because in news radio also, even though in 40, 50, like it's in dollars, like $1 billion, certain times the sale has gone down. Here we have a linear relationship. So I feel like newspaper and TV is a good approach when compared to radio. So this is some understanding of the data, what we would do. So once this has been done, I would only create I would only choose one particular column for your understanding. So what I told you yesterday, y equal to y equal to mx plus c. So here x is the TV, y is the sales. So this is what we would be seeing, and we should be getting a good value of m and c. So feature columns have taken only one column, guys, right now. So TV, so passing x value, like now we are doing the splitting where we haven't used any 80-20% rule. We are just putting x value separately and y value separately. So once this is done, I told you now the model building starts. This is called model building. So we basically impute sklearn.linear model, import linear regression. This is all ready-made, guys. You don't have to worry about the equations, how it is working, but you should know the math behind it, how linear regression works, how the decision tree, how is the math behind. But in order to use it, you just have to import it and you can use it. It's very simple. So as you can see in the screen, sklearn.linear underscore model, import linear regression. Then you create an object. So object is something like if like basically CS students would be knowing, you would be having a classes, objects, methods, parameter. So even though right now we are doing the scripting level language, but in deployment we would be having modular level coding where we have classes, objects. It's basically OOPS concept. So like I'm not sure how many of you know OOPS, but it's type of way you write the coding, like object oriented programming. So that's what we use in production. So LM is one particular object. So we create an object with linear regression, and here, so if I give shift and tab, you can see many values here within this, like fit intercept equal to true, normalize equal to false. So if I scroll down, we have a detailed explanation of all these completely. So this is where the hyperparameter tuning is done. I was telling you about hyperparameter tuning, right? So that in order to get, like for example, in linear regression, after using, if I get 0.7 accuracy, in order to increase the accuracy, you need to come back here and you need to tune this. Like giving, now it's taking default, like what a linear regression is supposed to take, is taking a default value. So in case you are supposed to do a hyperparameter tuning, you need to come back, you need to change the values and try it out. Like it's a trial and error method. So once we create an object of linear regression, we basically fit with x and y value. So once we have done, we would be getting a lm dot intercept and coefficient. So this is one what m and c is. So the coefficient is m, like 0.47, and intercept is 7.07. So using this y equal to mx plus c. So now the equation you can see here, y equal to mx plus c. So we are trying to predict it, guys. So this is where it is happening. Prediction using the model. If the expense on the TV ad is like $50,000, what would be the sales prediction for the market? So we would be using 50,000 here, or let it be 50 or 500. We are trying to predict the sales. So the equation, now we using this particular model, we have got the MNC. So we have fed it in y equal to mxpc formula, and with this we are able to get a accuracy of the model. We are able to predict it well before. So if a new data comes, we just plug into the formula and we get the data. That's simple. So now going to the next stage. Now I'm combining all the three columns: TV, radio, newspaper. Same way, like putting those into x values, y values, creating an object linear regression, and later I would be fitting it with x and y. I would be taking an intercept. Now we would be having three coefficients and one intercept. So the formula goes by like this: y equal to mx1 plus mx2, m1x1 plus m2x2, m3x3 plus c. So these are the coefficients. This is the intercept. So that's the reason we have three intercepts there. So we have three intercepts there, m1, m2, m3. So later, once this has been done, I would be feeding the data like lm predict. I have taken the data here, like which is already present: 230, 37.8, 69.2. So the answer what I should be getting is 22.1. So 230, we have 230 here, and next one is 37.8. We have 37.8 here, and next one is 69.2. 69.2. So we should be getting close to 22.1. So now I've got an accuracy of 20.52, which is 21. So the difference here is 1. So this is called as error, the test, like the error rate, the loss function. Now again, what I have to do, like further processing, this is the final thing, guys. Like you need to understand. Now I just want to give an overview of like how it is going on behind. Because if I keep on explaining, unless you don't see it in live, you would not be knowing what is happening. So the main intention here is you need to understand, connect your theory with practical, and just understand what is going on. So now we have got 20.52. So 22. Now again, I have to go behind, do the pre-processing, do some hyperparameter tuning, and try to get the accuracy of the model, basically. So hope this is clear, guys. So this is what I wanted to like give a live demo. Like I wanted you to practice. Anyway, after this day, I would be sharing this notebook to Rashmi. This might be like some who's doing courses outside or something. It might be very basic, but I consider audience who are not aware of this and explain this. But yeah, you can take this as reference and can start. First, install Anaconda prompt, and later launch Anaconda, and just give PWD and whatever advertising file, the CSV file what I've given, just paste it in that particular, else you would be getting an error, file not found. It has to be in the same directory where this e dot, like what I have it here. So you need to have it in the same directory. So once this is thing, you can just follow the sequence. That's it. Simple. So this is how the model building goes, guys. Like in full-fledged, if you want, in full-fledged, like basically we do it in PyCharm. We create separate libraries for it, and like we create modules, and that is how it's done. So now we have understood today the recap of data science, like what all we learned, and later how the data science pipeline goes, and I showed you how to create a model, build a model, and how the prediction goes in Python. Like in reality, how does it work? and all the pre-processing steps and all. So this in this we did not check anything. We did not standardize it, normalize it. This is just to understand how the modeling, how the predicting is work. But yeah, missing value is something. Then standardizing, normalizing, encoding. If you have categorical, it keeps varying. There's no sequence rules like one after the other you have to do. Like each problem statement based on the data, it keeps changing, guys. For example, if you have text data in NLP, you have something called trimming and lemmatization, stemming. Those are all pre-processing in NLP. Like as you get into it, you will be knowing. So now it's not right time for me to explain all these. So once if you get into NLP, you will be understanding the pre-processing, because in NLP text data, you don't have to check this missing values. The pre-processing totally different for text data. So this is it. So the next one. So right now I've taught you the pipeline, but your question is like, how do I study? Like, where should I start learning? Because the main motive was for you to start somewhere, right? If you're interested in data science, like what should I do? All those things. So here, let me give a roadmap, guys. Roadmap of for you to start learning data science. After this class, also I'll be sharing a book to Rashmi, even that you can learn and read on your own if you want to learn. Else, I'm always there if you can reach me. Anything like based on your interest, anything we can do further if you're interested. But right now, I like to set up a roadmap for you where you can start learning data science, getting skills. You have various resources online. So the first and foremost is select an ID. So ID is whether you can start coding with PyCharm or Jupyter Notebook, what I showed you, and there's something called Spider. And also there's RStudio for R language, but I do not recommend going for R language. So you have PyCharm. This is the first one, what I recommend, but you're starting to learn in the sense, start installing Jupyter Notebook and you can type the code. It's very easy, guys. So start with Jupyter Notebook and then go to PyCharm. So you can just have these two IDs in order to build any data science project end to end, whatever it might be. So these two are the things. And the next one, so once now you have decided the ID. So next one is you need to decide the programming language in order to build a data science. So you have decided the ID. So you better go with Python. This is what my advice is. Since it has huge demand and also it has vast libraries and very compatible, easy to learn. And next one also I would give there's something called R language. So R is basically used by statisticians, guys. So this machine learning, basically it has statistic concepts involved. So before this AI, all those things, statisticians were using R. So you can use R. Or if you're good in Java, you can use Java. And the ID keeps changing. The ID what I gave is only for Python. So what I recommend, go with Python because it is in demand. It require like the skill is easy to learn and the syntax is pretty easy, guys. It's very easy. Anyone can learn this, what I feel. So second one is a programming language. And third part is statistics. So people who do not like maths and want to become data science, you have to learn maths. Statistics is something main. The AI application looks fancy front end, but back end it has maths. So people who hate maths and want to become a data science, I do not know what, but you have to start loving maths because that's where you can do a very good application, guys. And you do not need a complex maths like MIT level or IIIT IIT level. You just need to have basic maths of 8th, 9th, 10th. That is sufficient. So first thing is algebra, linear algebra basically. linear algebra, and next one is differential calculus. So if you ask me, Ajit, where do I use this? Because you haven't mentioned anywhere. So I told you about calculus. Yeah, sorry about my handwriting. So it's difficult to write here in this writing pad too, in the electronic writing pad what I'm using. I'm trying the best to differential calculus. Okay. So differential calculus, and you have statistics concepts like confidence interval, hypothesis testing, null hypothesis, and you have Bayes theorem, central limit theorem, all those things. And you need to know matrix, cross product, dot product, vectors, scalars. This is very easy, guys. You don't have to know in deep to become a PhD. Just basics. You can Google it out. Go to any YouTube channels. You have N number to learn statistics. You have Khan Academy. So there is various places where you can learn statistics. But yeah, statistics is important. Where you would know, like, how do you know the important statistics is? While learning the machine learning model, the background of any machine learning model has a statistics, a mathematical equation being involved. To understand that, you need to know statistics very well. So right now we have covered IDE, programming language, and statistics. So you have to learn this in a sequence, like one after other. So you can, like Python IDE, you can do side by side. You can do the statistics part also. And the next one, what you're supposed to do is you need to start learning machine learning algorithms such as classification and regression, and later reinforcement learning, then go to deep learning, subset of ML, and you have clustering. So this, like, you have to have everything like side by side. You cannot do like one after other. It's better to start with IDE, Python, statistics side by side. Once you're good with Python, start with this MLDL, because you need to have a good hold on Python in order to build this model solve. You don't have to have a complex coding. Just a certain level of coding is sufficient. So it's nothing like only CS people who are good in coding. No, that's a false statement. You cannot become a data scientist if you do not have a good coding language. No, that isn't. Even the people from mechanical, civil, even if for a BCom student. So just because you BCom student, they have an advantage of statistics. So you cannot neglect anyone that they feel. It's domain irrespective. Even if you're a BCom student, you'll be having excellent understanding of the data. Even a CS or a EC student would not be having. So you would be knowing what the statistics, everything. So that edge he has. He just has to learn the coding. So that is not a great deal. He can even crack it in like just few days of practice of coding. You would be getting. So there's nothing, guys. Even mechanical students, even civil students, you just have to have the logic, guys. If you're interested, you can crack it easily. So there is, irrespective of the domain, you can create your project in civil also. So it depends, because you need to have the business understanding. So basically, you need to find out the problem where you can implement AI. Basically, everywhere you cannot do AI. So everywhere you cannot do AI, you need to try it out where you can fit the AIs. So clustering, DL. So once this is done, you need to go for NLP. So, and also in this, you have many algorithms, guys. This is just the overall heading of it. For example, regression, you have linear regression, logistic regression, decision trees, you have random forest, and you have something called boosting algorithms. So same as classification, you have logistic regression, and certain algorithms can be used for both regression, classification, etc. And deep learning, you have something called ENN, artificial neural network, what we saw yesterday. We have CNN, convolutional neural network. It's basically using computer vision. And we have RNN, recurrent neural network. So basically, it's used in NLP. And also these three, under this, there are many algorithms. Like it's a branch. I can keep on going down, down, down. There are lots of algorithms that's used for various cases. But yeah, right now for you to understand this keywords is sufficient. So once you start digging it, or if you need any help of mine, you can reach me. But yeah, these are the outline what you can do. So right now we have discussed 4 points. One is programming language. Select Python, start with it, download an ID, start learning statistics, machine learning. So next part is I've told you that to get the data from the database, you need something called SQL and NoSQL. So the difference between this is it basically has a database in a tabular format. It basically has a JSON format. You can use anything. Like you can use MySQL. There's various language, like various database where you can MySQL, Oracle DB, ADB2, everything. Here you can use MongoDB. These are all you're supposed to learn it, guys. Like separately, you are supposed to learn it. Like how in your semester you have 6 subjects. Take each subject one at a time. Like that, statistics is one subject, SQL, NoSQL is another subject, machine learning is a subject, and later you need to combine. So which we don't do in our semesters. We don't combine all 6 subjects and do one. But here we combine all 6 and build a AI application. That's the thing. So start learning SQL, NoSQL. You don't have to do all at once. But what I suggest to create an ID, Python, start learning coding, side by side have statistics. So once you're done with statistics, go learn SQL, NoSQL, how it is, and then later you can start machine learning. So that is the sequence that would be proper. So once this is done, I've told another where you need to scrap the data, web scrapping. So for this, you have a tool called Beautiful Soup. Beautiful, SOUP. And there's something called Scrappy and something called URL lib. So using these scrapping techniques, you can scrap any web pages. But yeah, do not try to scrap all the government websites. They will track your IP and it would be difficult for you. You need to have a permission to scrap also. So only the websites which allow you, such as Flipkart, you can scrap. I don't think Amazon, you cannot. Immediately you will be getting a error message or some message which you're not allowed to. And do not try to scrap any defense related or anything. Immediately IP address will be tracked. So that's a disclaimer. So do not scrap, and later you do not say anyone that Ajit told me to scrap, so I'm trying to scrap it. So some websites you're not supposed to scrap. So you're not allowed to. Mainly all like official, like government of India website, you're not supposed to touch at all. Do not try your techniques there. So any other like Flipkart, all those things you can try to scrap the data. So next one is, so we have done the IDEs, Python has been decided, and later we have started with statistics and machine learning. We know how to do the SQL, NoSQL, all those things, and scrap the data. And next one is, I've told for like yesterday a guy, he was interested in business analyst. So I don't remember his name, but for him, if he is present today, data analysis is another skill which is required. Like the pre-processing what we use, such as feature engineering, EDA, and data wrangling. So these three skills are required. Like you need to check the features, all those things. Basically, these are all the data pre-processing steps, which is to explore the data, understand the data in business domain, what we need. Because if you are a business analyst or data analyst, this is one skill which is required, because they give you the data. Finally, why they give you the data? So that you can interpret some information and tell them what is it saying. So that is the main aim here as a data analysis. So feature engineering is one skill which you are supposed to do. These are all a part of Python. Like once you start coding Python, first learn the coding, then the statistics side by side, then SQL, NoSQL, and later go for machine learning. Before machine learning, using Python, you can do the feature engineering, EDA, data wrangling, all those things. So Next part, the last one, what we have is, so we have finished programming language, machine learning, IDEs, web scraping, and statistics, the math behind what are you supposed to learn. The last one is data visualization. So once everything has been done, in order to show the client, so whatever product you have built, so no, if it doesn't generate any revenue, whatever the product you do, at the end, if the client is not able to understand, and if it doesn't generate any revenue, it's of no use. So you need to explain them. So the best visualization tools which is available in the market is Power BI. This is something you need to learn separately and try to integrate it with here. Tableau, EAU, I believe. And next one is something Matplotlib, Seaborn, which is present in Python. But I suggest you Matplotlib and Seaborn and Cufflinks. So what I suggest you start with Power BI, Matplotlib, Seaborn, you will be learning Python coding, and Power BI or Tableau. You can choose either Power BI and Tableau, but I suggest you go with Power BI. Keep one. You don't have to learn all the things, whatever I show you. But yeah, statistics, you need to learn all. Programming language, select Python. If you're good in Python, if you want to go with Java also, you can go, and you need to select a respective ID. And machine learning, you need to learn all. And web scraping, you need to know all. Data visualization, you can select one, Power BI, Tableau. So, and data analysis, you need to know completely, like end to end, whatever it is. So this is some like a roadmap, guys, what you are supposed to follow. So definitely, if you follow this and create one project, and if you go to any interview, if they ask you tell about yourself, like with their final year engineering project, just say that like on my own interest, I have created data science end-to-end project. I bet you no interviewer can reject you, even if you're going a fresher or 2 years experience, 1 year, because they can see that you don't have to have an experience for this. And you have, if you ask me, Ajit, where can I get the data? You have various forums like Subscribe and Learn. Like you have something called Kaggle. So that's the repository, and there's something called UCI. So there you can get the data. But Kaggle is the best place where you have various problem statements. If you do not know what Kaggle is, we'll try to take you there. So you can start learning there also, guys. There, there is huge. Yesterday, a guy he told he had done some Titanic data set. So I think you have everything complete end to end. You just have to log in. It's simple. Like you have the computations which going on, and if you want, you have lakhs and lakhs of revenue, like uh, price amount being given. You just have to type like uh, machine learning, Titanic machine learning. This is something where all freshers or who starting in data science, they just take it. So this is the problem statement you have completely, like what I've explained. You have the data here. You can just download it. You have 2 files, and you have the code here. There are many people who have done the coding already. They have submitted it. You can see the visualizations, predictions, what's going on here. You have many people who have done for CNN models, all those things. They have tried their own. They have done the EDAs. Like you can explore these guys, the techniques, what they have used. And later you have discussion, leaderboard, rules, all those things. There is various competitions which keeps on going on here. So if you're interested, but yeah, one disadvantage is you would be getting to know what is happening, but you won't be having a proper, you would be having a proper clean data, whereas in industry, you do not get a proper clean data. That is the only disadvantage of it. But but apart from that, you would be knowing very well like how it is going on. You have lots, like whatever it is, you can just search it and give. So NLP getting started tutorial, deep NLP, approaching spooky NLP, reply to reviewer NLP knowledge, everything, intro to NLP. There's various notebooks where you can start doing anything, like everything and anything is available. You can have a complete repository, guys. It's good actually. But yeah, this is like industry level experience. If you need to get into industry, you need to get the data. But as a beginner, this is the right way to start with. This is my suggestion. So hope you could understand what all I've told, guys. Today I started with the recap, and later a data science pipeline. We did a small demo of how the machine learning happen, like the machine learning production happens, and later I showed you the roadmap of it. So hope this is clear, because this is what I wanted to explain you for you to kickstart in data science. So all those. So uh, just let me know if you have any other questions, guys, because this is what I wanted to teach you. And the like, if you are interested, I can teach you, like, if they are final year students, if you want to get like more job calls or anything, if they have doubts, they can ask me. I'm open to those questions also. So now it's Q&A round. You can ask me any questions. What all you are after seeing this? Anyone? So I not getting any questions. Was it like, did you people understand like what I was able to like deliver today? Anyone? Sai, Rohan Reddy, Rashmi, Sanjana. I'm just picking out the names, what I could see.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, tell me,
Okay.
Rohan.
So, how to deal with multiple interests? Like, I am
Multiple
interested in multiple interests. Like, I'm interested in full stack development, and
full stack.
again, I'm interested full stack development,
Okay.
like front end and back end. Again, I'm interested in IoT too. So, I'm not able to choose which one. Which one should I go with?
Okay. May I know what's which sem are you right now?
So, I'm in 6 EC electronics.
Okay. Full stack development in what language you need? Full stack.
Front end it's same like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and back end is Munchstack,
Okay. So
MongoDB.
no, if you ask me if you're interested in IoT, I say go with IoT, Internet of Things, because that's where the demand is. So I
Uh,
don't think even the full stack, like, it would be useful for you in future. Like, if you're interested, for you not to build a IoT is complete, like, Internet of Things. Like yesterday I showed you, right? It has data science being involved. It's not one single thing what we can do in IoT. There's huge
uh,
things. So I say go with IoT, right? Because that is where now the market is, the demand is.
uh,
You
oh,
can go with IoT.
thank you.
So no knowledge wouldn't be waste. So this is to final year students, guys. One tip what I like to say: if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, kindly create a LinkedIn profile. Like, first thing is create a LinkedIn profile. So if you can see my screen, you create a LinkedIn profile, and please deactivate all Facebook, Instagram, because it's of no use right now. So start creating a LinkedIn profile. You would be getting various articles, like, which is happening in the world, everything, like, it's very interesting in LinkedIn. And start applying here, guys. You need to start applying here. There's something called job portal, and you can search the jobs what you're interested in. So there's a large number of jobs which is available in the market. You can see a machine learning specialist. So who said there's a recession, guys? See the tons of job openings which present here in this just for one profile you have. So there's nothing called recession, guys. Only people who aren't getting, they would be saying it's recession. But no, there are tons of jobs available market. Only the technical skills is lagging, is what I say. So first create a LinkedIn profile, and also in your resume, copy the link and paste it here, paste it there, like paste it in your resume so that anyone can see. So second thing, the tip the tip what I would say is, if you're a fresher and trying to search a job, like you would be applying in Naukri. So try to have a complete field details. For example, professional competency 100% is supposed to see, and you just have to keep on applying. It just apply, and if the HR or the agency or consultancy likes you, they would definitely. And so have a good role, like job role, or student or intern, do some as much as of an internship as possible, and try to build your portfolio very strong, so that, and make this as 100%, and put as a joinee as immediate. That's all small tips. And every day at 9:30, try to update your profile. You just have to go there, like for example here. I, So every day at 9:30, you just have to select some skills here, type, and you can delete it or update it and just save it, so that your resume would be at the top. So this is how there's something algorithm which is going on. So based on the update, it goes at the top. So this is one tip for the students who are still there in the last minute. So 13 people are there, so you can make use of this tip, and you can update. Definitely you'll be getting very like large number of calls if you keep on updating immediately though, but every day you have to do as a part of practice. So that would be helpful for you. You'll be getting large number of calls. And another thing, if you're doing any project, like one thing is LinkedIn profile, they would be seeing. Another thing is Naukri, keep on updating. And there's something called GitHub. So GitHub is a repository where you deploy the code, everything. For example, if you have done so and so project, so if for example Sai Rohan, he's created an end-to-end, you told you interest in full stack development, but where's the proof that you have done any project? So this is where you can deploy, Rohan. Like in GitHub,
That's
you can
correct. Yeah.
create a separate your repository in your name. Just log in and see. You can just create complete end-to-end project. So any interviewer can see your profile in here. So this is where you can make use of this. These are the steps. These are the tips where you won't be taught in college. So just giving a tip of advice from a senior. So this is what you can get more calls even for internships. And now I heard the final internship is compulsory. So try to apply here. Naukri is one thing. So these are the things where it won't be taught in English syllabus, but this is how it is going in market. Even though you're technically strong, and if you do not know the art of searching a job, then it's of no use. So try to impress the interview guys. Definitely, there's a lot of opportunities. Data science, even if you do one project, if they ask you what have you done, apart from your final year project, I know how the final year project goes. So not like I hope you understand. So even the interviewer knows like how you'd have done. In a four, I do not know the four would be contributing. It's very there. So like along with that, you say like I worked on a data science project, so that would add a real like value to your resume. Build your profile, guys. Whatever you learn, build your profile, build your portfolio. Try to like speak out in the crowd. You cannot be hidden here. Here also, like yesterday we had on 20, 25, now 30. So here, like the interaction is less. I know students, that's how it is, but you need to come out of it. So that's what I suggest you and advise you. You need to come out of it. You cannot be in the darkened cloud. You, because else you would be there itself and other people would be growing. So you need to come out of the fearness. It's fine if you speak even nonsense. That's fine. You need to speak out. Else that will be difficult for you. That's an advice. So hope like these 2 days was useful for you in certain manner at least. So in case if you have doubts, even now we have some. Sir, do you think doing masters in machine learning is required to masters? No, I've never done machine learning masters, guys. Like my last qualification is CEC, electronics, and CMRIT. That's it. So you don't have to have the masters. But if you like to do masters, yeah, go with it. But do in the premier institute is what I say. If you're doing MS, go to a proper standard graded university and do a proper MS in data science. Do not take course in India which is charging you high, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, and you have 60,000 various courses. No, they just teach you overall and they charge you a lot of money, guys. It's of no use. I did not take any courses outside. Various resources what I googled out. Google was my tutor. So if you ask me step by step, I have like lots and lots of resources where I had to Google it out. There's another thing called Analytics Vidya. That's also awesome blog, like a web page where you can Analytics Vidya. You can see here, guys. Everything is being explained here. The blogs. It's pretty like when you get time, like just come out of your semester exams and see what is happening. Finally, you would be going here, learning through courses. You have free courses here, and there's a blog also written here. I think I've logged in. You have blogs here written on all the articles, such as feature engineering, bootcamp, EIML belt, everything. You have hackathons being done. So try to get into all these guys. You need to come out of your comfort zone and get into all these. That's when later you would be very happy and something. I think yesterday a guy, he was interested in business analytics. You have a free course. You have 31 lessons. Just pick it. You have Python here, 70 lessons. Just take it and start doing, guys. So you have introduction to MATLAB free for 20 lessons. So decision trees, pandas for data analysis. So you have resources. You need to search it out. How you search, it depends on you. So what I say, Sanjana, if you are trying to do masters, like go for Premier Institute only if you're interested. Else, spending lakhs now at this particular time is very crucial. So if you've got a job, get into the job. Do not, because now the situation because of COVID, it's very difficult. So even outside, it's not like Indian market. There's nothing called campus recruitment coming to the college, taking you out everywhere, like taking the flocks completely and getting an offer letter. No, in outside the system is totally different. So you need to do an internship. For that, you need to apply for 1,000 companies. You'll be getting calls, and later the next step is you need to apply the job. So what I say, if you've got an opportunity, go ahead with it, like job opportunity, and later you can study data science side by side and get into it. So that's it. Even if you have 2 years experience, the work experience matters. You don't join as a fresher in data science. So you would have worked in some other development. So you can show them the showcase the resume, but you need to do a end-to-end project. So guys, any other doubts? Anyone? I have more 20 minutes left. Any steps like what I've thought if you have any doubts?
Sir, would you recommend Google Colab?
Yeah, Google Colab is good, but you cannot save it, right? Like if you have, we use Google Colab, but Google Colab is basically it basically uses GPU, but you cannot save it. If you want to build a deep learning, and if you do not want to install Jupyter Notebook, you can go for a Google Colab directly. Like the advantage is there. It has its GPU. It doesn't use your RAM speed. Like in order to build a deep learning where you have many hidden layers, you can use a Google Colab. But if you're starting, you can use Google Colab, Jupyter Notebook is the same. Only difference, it has its own GPU, Sanjana. That would be good. Have you started like learning?
Yeah, but currently I'm using Jupyter Notebook. But
Yeah,
I
that is
heard
good.
Google Colab is a better one, so I'm
No,
not sure.
in terms of performance wise, like depends on the application. If you have deep learning and all, you can directly go to Google Colab. In case not, you can use Notebook, and PyCharm is good. You can also create GPUs. Like there's a separate way to set up of GPU in your system, like with the help of cloud. So that also you can do using PyCharm. But to build an end-to-end application, PyCharm is good.
Okay, so suppose like when we are training a particular model, it depends on the data set, no? Like for how
Correct.
long it will like take to train. So according
Correct.
to you, if I'll have to train around 15,000 images, how long would it take?
15,000 images basically depends on your hidden layers. So, and the GPU environment, what you've used, it depends. It can take an hour also based on the system configuration, or if you have a good computational power, it can be finished in 2030. But if you told 15,000 images, that would take a lot of time, close to 1 hour, 1.5 or 2 hours, might be 6 hours. It depends on the GPU, what you have set up actually. You have NVIDIA GPUs,
Yeah.
NVIDIA RX GPU, all those. But if you just use it in a normal system, I don't think the system would hunger. It would not run at all. But it
Yeah.
would take a lot of time. Did you try it?
Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work out, so I
It
had to
won't work.
install GPU and then do
No,
it.
you cannot install GPU. It's like GPU. You cannot install it. Like you
No,
need to
like
have a cloud environment, and you need to pay it also.
no, like I heard now, like there are like so many types of TensorFlows also, right? Like
Yeah,
uh,
TensorFlow. That's a package. That's a framework.
Yeah, so I heard, like, I tried training my model. It took like around 1 day for
Yeah, see, that's the
like only
difference.
for 25 epochs.
Yeah,
So
25
I,
epochs. Yeah.
yeah. So like someone had answered that question on Stack Overflow or something. They told you have to install TensorFlow GPU.
Yeah,
Then it
for
will,
GPU it costs you. It costs you actually. I don't think
yeah.
anyone can give you free. So it
No,
costs
no,
you actually.
but I think I could download it, but I have not tried it yet. Like, I have not trained the model again.
Yeah, try it out. You might get a this thing telling credit is required. But yeah, if you get a free GPU or something, you're luck. Because they don't. Else you can try it and Google collab the same thing. If because
Okay.
I think they have some 16 GB GPU or 64. I'm not quite sure. They have a inbuilt. Try the same thing. And did you try it in Google Colab?
No, no, that's what I wanted to
Uh,
ask. Like, for training, which would be better? Like,
no, you can try with Google Colab. I don't think if
okay.
you do not have a GPU set up in yours, it doesn't work. Whereas Google Colab, they have their own GPU. So
Yeah.
that's an advantage. So try with Google Colab. So that is easy. So what are you trying to do? Like you're trying to classify the images?
Yeah, right now I'm trying to, but then I started it like 1 week ago. I just didn't do it. I need to do
So
it.
so you know the maths, the weights and all being involved?
No, now that you've told me how to go like stepwise, now I've
So that's
understood that.
the mistake. Majority of them who do the freshers, they directly go to the end, final aeroplane building. So, but
Yeah,
thing is, to be honest, that's not the approach. Like to be honest with you, I'm not trying to demotivate. It's good initiative, what you have done, but you need to know the maths there, Sanjana. Like how the weights
yeah,
are happening. You told epochs. In order to complete one epoch, the weight backward propagation, the weight what it goes, it has some maths. You need to know that. So then you
okay,
would know how to compute it, all those things. Until and unless you do not know the math, it looks very like mesmerizing, like yeah, great. But at the end, you need to know the math. Like suggest you go back. Now you have come to know at least some basics what I've told you. Hope it was useful and
yeah. It was
you
very
like
useful. At least for me, like now at least I know like where to start, and then I
yeah,
think I
that
just started with the more advanced one.
not advanced, complete advanced one.
Yeah, so like now I know what to do.
Yeah, do
Thank you.
not go and do not go to the end, else you would be blank later.
Yeah. No,
So
this happens because there'll be no one to tell like what to do. So I just found this interesting, and then I started watching videos on YouTube. I took course on Udemy, and then I know there was some point where I didn't understand anything, but still I was doing it.
okay. So
But
yeah,
now I know how to
at least was it
approach it.
useful for 10% for you? Like where can you
And,
start?
no, like 90% it was very useful for me.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you.
sufficient. I'm happy for that. At least like I told Rashmi, even if one person takes use of it, I'm happy because the whole intention of this program is to make sure that my juniors take help because see, this is where I studied and I had to give back to the college. So even many students would be like struggling, even though they know data science. You know, everywhere in YouTube, if you play some videos, you'll be getting a number of videos. Data scientist, job opening. They fall into the trap of the institute. Please do not do that, guys. You can learn
Yeah.
everything on your own. Do not waste your father's hard-earned money. 70,000, 80,000, 2 lakh, 3 lakh they charge you. Do not like pour their money into that. If you want to do MTech, do a proper MTech. So do an MS in a proper university. But if you want to learn the various resources, right now I've told you the steps. So let's see how the feedback comes to me, so that in future I can start with Python, flow step by step. What I've told you the flow. If you people are interested, that also. Because if you are not interested, I cannot do anything. So this is the thing. I need some even if it is 10 members, I'm happy. I do not need a crowd of 100, 200. It depends on your interest, guys. So because I'm not crowd specific, I'm like interest. Even if 2 members are there, I'm happy to teach you. So any doubts, whatever it is, feel free to ask me anything. So I think I answered your question, Sanjana. So good. Like you go back, you good. You're trying. So go back a bit, reverse. Like go back to the you got at the end of the movie. So come back and watch from starting. So
Yeah.
so that's the thing. Go
Thank
start
you.
from statistics, Python. Python anyway, you know. So good you start with Jupyter. Start with Python coding basically. Anything Google, guys. Google is the best resource. Not that I know everything. Okay. While doing the procedure, whatever technology you go, whether you would be going right now, you would be placed in some companies. If you do not know the debugging skills, whatever project you do, you is of no use. If you get an error, do not get panic first. Like, do not ask for seniors or anyone. For example, now in college, asking lecturers, yeah, first try to understand what is, and try to Google it out. Your first debugging happens in Google. Try to research it. There's tons of articles written, and you have large community in data science. Especially if you want a big stack developer, you have tons of this thing. Try to debug it. Do not get panic. If you're not able to, do not get panic. Stay calm, stay focused. I'm sure you all are doing well. Like, I'm not sure the audience, like there's next set of audience, 6, 7, 7, 7, whatever it is, try to have a roadmap. If you are second sem, third sem, it's your right time to start. Even if you're an eighth sem, it's right time to start. People who are done 15 years of experience, they are getting transition to data science. So you people have a greater advantage. They're all like your father's age might be. So 16, 20 years experience, they are trying to get into data science in a higher role. So for you, it is right time to start, but start early if you're starting. Go in the right direction. Do not fall into traps. Like, just do not go in a flock of sheep. But yeah, but you should be having interest in mathematics, statistics. Don't go to the fancy number. Your friend is going for data science, even I'll be going for data. Then I do not encourage. You should be having an interest, a curiosity in the data. But that is the future, guys. Trust me, to harsh truths, that is the future. Yeah, because you have zettabyte of data. 2025, we need lakhs of data scientists. You have lot of opportunities. But yeah, you need to be technically strong. You don't have to be an expert, but at least something. So there's lots. Even I did not say you about the big data. So even that is a part of data science. It comes in a pre-processing stage. We have a big data engineers. So certain things I could not say in this class due to time constraint. 2 hours, what was possible I've told. In case not, so please forgive me. And if you have anything, questions, you can mail me. You can WhatsApp me anything, or you can have a call. So like I'm free. So you can just this is my WhatsApp. Like, you can just call me anytime. So before you can you can just WhatsApp me. So 99800777489 is my number. So my name is Ajit. So you can just, before calling me, you can just WhatsApp me, because each and every call I won't be picking. So in case I'm meeting. So definitely, if you are a CMRIT, just say this so and so. I had attended your workshop. I need a help. So I'll just say you what time you're supposed to. We can just have a chit chat. So whatever doubts you have, you can ask me anytime. It need not be data science, anything. Like, I'll try my best to explain you, so that you can be used with someone, because I did not have anyone to mentor me. I did everything on my own. So I did not want my juniors to suffer. So that's the thing. That's the overall idea of this particular workshop. That's it, guys. So if you have any questions, still you can ask. If not, I have a feedback form which has been, I just try to send you the link. So whatever, if you want to tell, please, you can just fill it in this. That would be very helpful for me to know, like, what was, like, how I explained you, because there's a difference between Chetan sir explaining you. He's an excellent in explaining professors after all. So, but
no. You have explained very well, man.
Oh, thank you, sir. So that's what, like, I just wanted to know. So how, but yeah, I tried my level best in explaining. It's teaching is an art where only few can do it. That's why they're lecturers. So, and we are because of them. So that's it. So I'd like to thank, and please, this is a feedback form. Request all 12 participants. So before it goes to 2, please fill your feedback. That will be very useful for me. And yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this. So thank you very much, CMRT, like, giving me this opportunity, and Chetan sir and Rashmi especially for coordinating this workshop. So thank you, Rashmi, once again. You helped me out to, you are the bridge actually between me and CMR. So hope this was useful. Even if one person makes use of this workshop, I'm very happy. It's not like complete crowd move to data science. So anytime I'm available for you. So that's it for my end. So please fill this feedback form. That this is helpful for me. So yeah.
Thank you, Ajit. It was really.
Rashmi, 1 minute. Ajit, if any student wants to go for the data science or machine learning, which course you refer to them so that they can get a job?
Course-wise, sir, like, there's various institutes. So in order to, like, I wouldn't recommend any course. They can follow this approach, like, what, because if they are like want to invest on money, they can. There's 80,009. Just simply learn. There's Udemy, Udacity. identity. There's various
No,
courses
that is
available.
just a certification course. So
Yes,
if you assume that
certification.
they are not having a job, but they have to go to a course and get a job. So which course is better in the industry right now? Like
Which course? Like
which
apart
institute?
from data science?
Yeah, which institute is okay that they'll get a job 100% there?
In that case, they promise you, sir. There isn't any industry that say 100% placement. Initially, they say yeah, but yeah, if you ask me, universities such as Applied Roots, there's something called Applied Roots with Hyderabad University. So I see they have good credit score, but it depends on the candidate. They say 1 year program. How long you would be sticking on, it depends on you. But you have not got a job and want to do, I've showed few tips and tricks where they can try to get some calls, attend interviews. So that's a part of their job.
Is it mandatory? Like they have to go to some institute to get a job, or with some certification, can they get the job?
No, sir. Certification is of no use, sir. They want to
No
ask you a
use.
certification.
Oh.
No use at all. Any companies, they don't ask you certifications at all now. Now the trend has changed. Whatever certification is of no use. If you cannot explain the basics, what will like if you have a AI master certificate, if you cannot explain certain topics, like they just ask you in basics. If you do not have it, no, that's of no use. So, but if they want to learn, they can go. Like Applied Roots is there. They take some 70K, 80K, all those. But yeah, if you ask me for the sake of certification, you get job, no, sir. But there are cases like if you just do this project and explain them, that's sufficient for them. They are like as a fresher also. If they do this projects like certain data science projects in Kaggle, all those things, some 4 or 5 projects, everything is there in Kaggle. So there's analytics vidya. So if they do from there, that's sufficient, sir. But if they want to learn more,
how many projects do you suggest that by doing this many projects, definitely they'll get an opportunity for getting an interview call?
2 projects is sufficient.
Minimum.
Sir.
Okay. What should
maximum
be the
only 2 projects sufficient.
Difficulty
but
level.
Severity level, anything. They can take a problem statement, but they need to do end to end. They need to explain that complete pipeline, what they did. 2 projects is sufficient for the interviewer to understand what this person's technical skills is. Because in the 2 projects only, they'll ask you various questions. You should be, for example, if I say data pre-processing, they'll ask you how did you do the missing value imputations? Tell me the steps. Like encoding you did, tell me the steps. Like you did the model. Why did you select this model? Why can't you use this model? Tell me that particular model, explain it. So in this one project, if you put also, they'll screw you there. So they will come to know, sir. Easily they'll come to know. So if there's no like 5 projects I did, the interview would feel, wow. That is in one project, he'll screw you completely. They'll dig you, they'll squeeze you out. Yeah, but yeah, if you are good in that one project end to end, that's sufficient. Do not put, there's nothing like a misconception. If you have 5 projects, they feel, wow, no. 2 projects is sufficient, sir.
Okay. So profile should be only minimum 2 projects.
Yeah.
And it should be end to end. And they should be knowing everything on that. Completely
about the project. Completely
correct.
about
the certification doesn't matter.
No, sir, it doesn't matter.
And background like percentage.
Only like for freshers, if they are going lateral, minimum 60-70% should be there. So right now, as a fresher, like if they are going directly to the company, like in campus, they would see definitely the cutoff should be there. Apart from that, if they're going other way, like as a fresher, at least some 65-70% above. If you are going for good companies, at least 70 above. It's better to have a good aggregate, is what I say. It matters actually. Even for me now also, they ask me, see the percentage, all those things. So it matters. It's not just the best, but it matters a lot.
Correct.
So don't ignore those also, because Ajay told data science.
Marks is important. Marks is important.
Yeah, marks is important. You need to have an aggregate.
The dedication is important. That they
have dedication is that's what
set of points, set of projects.
Yeah, that's the thing. And if you get any offer letter, if you're interested now, like if you're interested in data science, need not be that I missed that and start studying. No, do not do that. You first get into the industry. Later you can play around. You can make the transition to data science. So that's a different story. But do not leave the offer letter, guys, because getting an offer letter is great nowadays. So that's an advice. So advice, like whatever job it is, they'll just push you into any domain. So try to ask there. You need to speak out. You cannot be like how you were silent. Yeah, like only few people interacted with me, sir. So you need to speak out. Else just push you somewhere, you'll just be there. That's it.
Maybe they are not used to the company sides, right? So that's
why that's the thing.
Yeah.
That
So
is the
still
thing.
they are students, so they don't want to open their mouths.
Yeah,
Once they
that's
go
it.
to the company, how you were and how you are
Correct.
now,
Correct.
so they'll
That is
change.
the transition.
That's a transition that definitely will happen.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they have.
so it was very informative, Ajit. I think some of them would have taken it in a positive way. They will take it to the next level.
Mhm.
But whatever you have done in 2 days, it's actually very good. So
Thank
I
you very
hope
much,
your
sir.
juniors like it.
Yeah.
Not many of the other colleges will get the senior like you can come up and talk about how the company is working. So if they can use this, it's actually benefit for them.
Yeah, it's their
Yeah,
career.
and I suggest what my suggestion is. Be in contact with Ajit, and if you have any problems with getting into a company's interviews or any sort of questions related to the data science, you just put a message to him, and then definitely he'll be able to answer. Okay, so you have a very good senior, make use of it. Okay, he's a 6 years super senior of yours. Okay, so that is what I suggest. So for Ajit, all the best for your future, man. I
Thank you,
hope
sir.
you get into a better company again. So I
Yeah,
got almost like 9 offer letters. So
yeah,
you can
nine.
put a Inky Ponky now.
Yeah, like it's confusing here also.
Hmm.
Which one to select?
So
We need to get
that
a.
is what is achievement. Like, see how you
Yeah,
what you have done. See, you have a choice of which company you to take. Not like
definitely.
how you were in when you were in the college, taking
True,
whatever they give.
true,
Now
true.
you
That is
can take whatever you want. So
correct.
that is what
That is
good
how
transition.
we should be. That's what I say. Whatever they give, 3.2, 2.9, do not see the package. Just get into the
Just get in.
industry.
Yes.
So even if they pay you 20,000, no, that's fine. Just get in. Later experience builds and just jump around. That's it.
Yes. First experience and then get in.
Okay.
It's a very good thing, man. So we hope to see you more again.
Yeah,
If it's possible, we'll
definitely.
call you again to talk to your juniors again.
Definitely, sir. Actually, I wanted to visit to college and give a lecture, but due to
Yeah, you
COVID
can.
time, it was
Oh,
impossible.
it's a little problem.
Even for me to come back to college and be, it would have been a chance.
Yeah, correct.
Uh, Good, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah.
this opportunity, and all of you, all the best. Good luck for your career. So, hope you come back, and any doubts, I'm free, always there for you. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, any feedback you can ask, tell it to Rashmi in case you want future workshops, any suggestions. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Uh,
sir. Thank you, Rashmi.
Thank you so much, Adit.
Yeah. Bye, bye. Bye, everyone. Have a nice day.